All of you about the things that are on your mind. Our first question or comment is going to be kicked off by our student body president. And if someone's speaking who you disagree with dramatically, 180 degrees, passionately disagree, please do give them every chance to make their statement. And when it's your turn, we'll ask everyone else to be equally respectful, so this can be a First Amendment free speech zone, as every community meeting here in the United States should be. So one of the issues is, how do we create living wage jobs? We lost a lot of living wage jobs out of the Great Recession in 2008. 60% of the jobs lost were living wage. Only 40% of the jobs we've gotten back are living wage. That means a lot of families, millions of families, have gone from middle class with benefits to near minimum wage, part-time jobs, few to no benefits, and that's no foundation for raising a family. And so we need to think about the ways through investment in infrastructure, investment in manufacturing, investment in education, investment in timber and natural resources, that we can create those jobs. Statistics that's a little scary is that right now 95% of the new income in America is going to the top 1%, which means 99% are sharing the other 5. Well, we need to change that and kind of have the growth in our country help restore middle-class living wage jobs and provide a foundation for families. So that's a host of topics that may come up in the course of this conversation. We're also having a conversation about some of the safety net issues. The federal extended unemployment for high unemployment states. This was a bipartisan agreement developed under the Bush administration. It was proved very hard to get bipartisan commitment to renew it on December 28th, so it disappeared. 18,000 families on December 28th in Oregon lost extended uninsurance. And in the course of this coming year, another 55,000 or so will lose that insurance. The issue over food stamps. The Senate has said don't cut it. The House has said, well, or cut it very little. The House has said don't take $40 billion out of it. And so that's a piece of the conversation. Minimum wage, whether or not it should be raised to $10.10 over a 2-year period. That is a major issue coming up this coming year. Foreign affairs, we have the issue on how do you prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon and all the risks that poses for the region and for the world. So we're in a 6-month period right now of intense negotiations with Iran. It's a development that few would have anticipated even a year ago, but will it succeed, and where will it go from there? International trade is something folks may want to raise. Funds and campaigns, and how does that affect the U.S. political system, Citizens United? So there's a lot of issues, and hopefully I just wanted to warm up the conversation, as you might say, yeah, I want to ask about this or that, or have a comment on this or that. And so I'm going to turn now to our first question or comment. And you've already met Cole, but Cole volunteered to give the first question. He's a senior this year. You're headed to Brigham Young next year. And it's all lined up, you're ready to go. Congratulations, that's a great school. And an interest in math and engineering. It was through math that I really got into college, so I can identify with that. But when I got to college, I ended up not doing engineering, but I got interested in other things. But it's a chance to explore the world. You play tennis. I played tennis when I was in high school. Are we related? He's in the robotics club and doing a great job. Go ahead and stand up and share your question or comment.
All right. Well, I was looking on your website earlier, and it said that it says you are committed to protecting the rights of all Americans. And it also says that in a statement you said that there's no right more fundamental to democracy than the right to vote. So I just wanted to ask the question of I'm a educated, tax-paying American. Why can't I vote?
Yeah. I believe it was Congressman Earl Blumenauer who fought to lower the age to 18 here in Oregon, and I'm trying to. That was not voting. That was that voting? That was voting, wasn't it? I'm seeing some shaking heads. Yes. Anyway, it's been a debate. Your question is, and you're not 18 yet, right?
No.
So your question is, why shouldn't I be able to vote at 17 or 16 or from birth? And I guess the short answer is the sense is that citizens are in training in their youth to learn about issues and be able to exercise an opinion with a strong sense of information behind it. And that's in that course of those years up through 18, through high school, more or less, are those years in which you acquire an understanding of how a republic works. What are the issues related to the economy or related to rights that are in the Constitution? And so we've settled on this age of 18, roughly representing the transition from high school to college. In my 5 years as a senator, you're the first person to ask about this question. And I love it when somebody kind of tills new ground, plows new ground, and puts something else out there. So thank you for raising it. I think that probably 18 is a reasonable time to make that transition to exercising the power to vote. But it's very interesting to have someone raise an alternative. Did you have a specific proposal in mind that you wanted to lay out there?
Well, you said that, we have the voting age so that people have a chance to learn about the issues and get educated about the issues. So do you think an educational requirement would be more appropriate than an age requirement?
Yeah, no, I don't. And I'll tell you why is because essentially it's impossible to evaluate something as uncertain as did this person learn this or that. We have a long history of folks trying to erect barriers to citizens' vote and really only wanting people to vote who share their point of view. And so I think that this is the fairest kind of foundation, that it is not based on your opinions, it's not based on where you live, it's not based on where you own property, you don't have to pay a poll tax, that an age is the cleanest way to give everybody an equal chance to weigh in and be part of the discussion. However, there's many other things you can do before the age of 18, including volunteering on campaigns, writing letters. I remember the first letter I wrote to a newspaper was when I was in high school. And it was when a vice president had been convicted of bribery, of taking bribes. It was Spiro Agnew, and he was convicted of taking $100,000 in bribes, and his criminal penalty was $10,000. It should at least be $100,000. Should at least have to return the bribe money. And so I wrote a letter to the newspaper saying that it so much matters in a system of justice that those at the top are held equally accountable to the way others would be treated. And that to have only a fraction of the gains of this illegal act returned in a penalty did not meet that test. So that was my first political engagement. Thank you for your question. And now we're going to jump to everyone else, and Dan is going to read numbers, maybe 3 at a time, and 3 numbers on, and we'll just raise your hand. Doesn't matter the exact order. We just want to move it quickly and get in as many comments and questions as possible. And I heard that some of our students that you're in an AP class, right? How many folks are in an AP class? Did you hear about the extra credit you're going to get if you ask a question? Did you hear about that? I'll lobby your teacher that you should get extra credit. And if you don't have a ticket but you raise your hand, I'll leave it up to you if you'd like to call. But any of our students, let's mix them in if they have a question that they'd like to ask. Because I gather you didn't take tickets on the way in, so I want to make sure that's not a barrier to jumping in.
All right. Thank you, Senator, very much. So the first 3 numbers that I have here are 244, 237, and 227. So 244.
244. Senator Merkley, thank you for coming to visit. Thank you very much for coming to visit the Gorge. You know this is a unique part of our state of Oregon and Washington, and it represents an innovative agreement between 2 states, 6 counties, and 13 communities to work together. And I think you also know that we're struggling as rural communities to provide basic services and to create jobs. My charge as the director of the Columbia River Gorge Commission is to help protect a very special part of our states and to support the communities that are trying to thrive here. And this is probably more of a statement, but also a question